We have a quorum, and so if everyone would stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We'll start off with the reading of the minutes by Shannon here.
Okay. Council meeting Tuesday, February 3rd, 2026. Council present, Mayor Lorene Felstadt, Marvin Garding, Sharon Briggs, Tom Fox, Kyle, tell me how to say your last name, Kyle. Cirincione. Minutes were read by the clerk. Motion to approve minutes was made by Kyle. Tim seconded. All approved. Claims. Motion to approve claims was made by Kyle. Marvin seconded. All approved. Maintenance. Marvin Garding. He has 2 trash enclosures for the park. He's refinishing the picnic tables located in the park and is looking at buying more picnic tables. Kim Garding asked Marvin about what they are going to do about the trash left behind from the farmer's market. Marvin said has improved, but he'll look into it further. Water sewer. Charlie Jenkins. Took a couple of weeks for us to find the curb stop for Valley Grocery. It's been located. We are looking for a solution. The new blower, which has not been working since December, has been installed and is working great. John from Rural Water came out to help us with the sewer stormwater issue. A lot of engineers are showing interest in the procurement request. We sent out a leak test to people showing a leak on their new meters and have talked with several homeowners about their leaks. We are keeping up with plowing the roads. Sharon Briggs had a lot to say about the letters that the council should have received a heads up. And that the council should have received a heads up that these letters were going out. Kyle. God, say your last name again, Kyle.
Cirincione.
Why am I having a blank? Cirincione thought the letters were motivational and matter of fact in the content. Charlie Jenkins replied that we sent the letters to most of the people in October regarding their leak and only a few fixed it, so the next letter was tougher. Tim Fox asked about the curb stops at Valley Grocery. Charlie said they were struggling to find them, but the clerk found some old maps in the basement and these were used to finally locate the curb stop. Water project, Paul Montgomery. Paul was not present. Charlie read Paul's report. Charlie mentioned that $1 million grant from Zinke's office from the Appropriations Committee in the federal government. Quarterly reports. Sheriff Ryan, is it Funk or Funky? Funk. Yep. 8.5 patrol hours logged. Sheriff went over a 2025 State of the County report for the council detailing items that the sheriff's office has accomplished. Included was a $2.8 million shared grant awarded from Zinke's office. County Planner Andy Short was present. Fire District Chief Frisbee, pretty quiet lately. Marvin had a small house fire they assisted on. The chief suggested that people keep fire extinguishers, fire alarms in their house. Many are reasonably priced. We are starting to come into fire season, so consider burning safely. County Attorney was not in attendance. Old business. Les wrote, vacate street request. Kyle spoke with the sheriff about this. Walter Congdon suggested a conditional use permit option to Mayor Felstadt. Mayor Felstadt read a legal statement from the public submitted by the lawyer representing Les Rote's neighbor, Jim Pelger. Clerk stated that the Pelgers could not attend the meeting due to a family emergency. Kyle motioned against the vacate request. Marvin seconded. All approved. Mayor Felstadt then publicly presented a condition use permit recommended by Walter Congdon to Les Rote as an option. Andy Short commented to Mayor Felstadt that this permit cannot be addressed tonight cannot be addressed because it's not on the agenda for the meeting. Tim motioned for to table the conditional use permit option. Kyle seconded. All approved to table the permit until a later time. New business, George Wheeler. George requested for his seat on the Mineral County Planning Board to be renewed since his term has recently expired. Kyle motioned to approve the renewal. Sharon seconded. All approved. George Wheeler has been reappointed and his oath of office will be signed with the clerk and filed with the county recorder's office. Resolution to temporarily change the start time of council meeting from 7 to 6 p.m. for a 3-month trial period, March, April, and May. Kyle motion to approve the change. Sharon seconded. Tim approved. Marvin voted nay on this issue. Clerk told the council that they will be receiving info on an upcoming executive conference for mayors and council members to learn more about their positions. Mayor notes. Mayor mentioned meetings she attended in December and January on Zoom and future meetings scheduled for March and May to learn more. She has an office in the town office, so the public is welcome to meet with the mayor there. The mayor is scheduling a town cleanup Earth Day event in April. More info to come. Public comment. Bob Summerfield, the Bear can manufacturer, is having trouble filling our order. Republic Services has not been communicating with the group very well recently. The next town council meeting, Bear Smart, will have a more formal annual update with longer presentation. Bear Smart is interested in more participation by the area community. Their meetings are at the last Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. Kyle motioned to adjourn the meeting. Sharon seconded. All approved. Meeting was ended at 8:37.
Council, are there any comments, corrections to the minutes?
I think in the opening, who was present, my name was read as Tom Fox.
Tim,
Oh,
if I said Tom, I apologize.
you got it.
I know your name, Tim.
Any comments from the community, changes?
How many hours were listed for the police? I thought it was 80.
82.
It sounded like 80.
Yes, sounds like 8.5.
I think it was 80. Where is it? Where is that? 82, 86.5 patrol hours.
I'll make a motion that we approve the minutes as read.
Thank you, Marvin. Marvin has motioned.
I will second.
Kyle has seconded. All in favor? And has the council had adequate time to review the claims?
Yes.
They were in a couple of batches, so it was a little bit different to look at.
It wasn't
So,
bad.
pardon me?
It wasn't bad.
Good.
No.
Glad to hear that. We did our best. So the total is $44,982.37. The claims include the payroll along with, I think you probably noticed this one that has the highlighting as a duplicate. So I would also call your attention to the fact that we have a claim approval signature page this time around. That is something that automatically comes up in our software when printing out claims, but we've included it. But this evening, at the end of the meeting, we'd like to have your signatures.
Well, nothing seems out of the ordinary with these claims, so I'll make a motion to approve them.
I will second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Right. How much was it? $44,982.37. Thanks. You're welcome. And now, Marvin, do you have a maintenance report for us?
I don't,
Okay.
sorry, I've been out sick and I'm kind of mixed up right now. But everything's still standing.
That's good.
I was afraid that flag would blow away in the wind last night.
Well, the flag's almost done. Someone's taking care of that, I was going to, but that's been taken care of by someone else.
Yeah, hired some monkeys to get up there.
Yeah, I guess.
Okay.
It's in the works. All right. Charlie, do you have your water report?
I sure do. Okay. First thing in everybody's packets printed out little, first page is the water, total monthly water usage in graph form. So it's not for everybody in the public, but the council members have them. Basically, it just goes through with our new meters. They're like digital, so they do all kinds of great things. And the month of October, we used 990,000 gallons. November, 912,000 gallons. December, 901,000 gallons. January, 980,000 gallons. The month of February, we used 653,000 gallons. So the difference between January to February is 327,000 gallons. If you average those first 4 months, it's 946,000 gallons, and the difference between February and the average is 293,000 gallons. The next thing attached is this is also what these new meters do. They print out graphs for everybody's meter. Everybody has an account. So this is like stupendous. And this is, these are examples of leaking residents. And the first one, it just shows in this timeline from January 10th to roughly February 10th, the usage of 78,000 gallons on this particular. And then once the leak was fixed, and it's roughly the same timeline, down to 3,088 gallons.
Wow, good work, Charlie.
So yeah, and then the second one is just a similar example. And this one, the first usage is 62,000 gallons down to 2,638 gallons. So it's awesome, you guys. What happened in that time? We put out a letter. And I obviously picked the two biggest leaks to really drive home the point, you know. But the numbers don't lie. It's awesome. We have really brought our usage down, 300,000 gallons. And I understand that February is the shortest month and yada yada, but still, I am overly joyed about that. And we have spent a lot of time, fielding phone calls, showing people their meters. There's a real time meter. Basically, it shows you exactly what's going through your meter in this moment. So people that are having leaks or whatever, it's like, okay, talking them through it on the phone or physically going to their houses and showing them. You flip open the face, it shows you right there. There's, 0.04 or whatever. There's some amount of water continually moving through your meter, and 90% of the leaking fixtures were toilets, for sure. I would say about 90%. And so then there's typically a little valve on the back of the toilet, and people are like, well, I have 3 toilets, how do I know? And it's like, okay, watch the meter, go shut off the valve, go back to the meter, and now it's at 0, and that one is your problem. We have hard water. A lot of the fixes are just the flapper. It's like take a rag, wipe off where it seals, sits back down, no more leaks. And it's quite fascinating how much water a little leak of your toilet, actually amounts to. And we went from 27 accounts on the leak list, and today we have 10. So, and when we first put out the first letter in October, we were 33, I believe. And so then, yeah. So that's a lot of what we've done. In terms of the store and the whole situation, we ran a new service line to the Valley Grocer, and got that taken care of, so it is no longer leaking under Railroad Avenue, which I am overjoyed about. One of these actually example leaks, the second one, was Meadowview, and this was in the quadrant of the town that the RLC project was on, and there was no leak inside the house. And so we made the call to RLC. Look, we need to dig with something. It's going through the meter. The meter is in a meter pit outside the house, so it had to be between the house and, so basically the old service line and the way that they connected it. So we excavated down with RLC present, but the town went ahead and did the excavation in case by chance it was something that was the homeowner or whatever, just to save cost. And we identified that it was absolutely an RLC situation. The fitting was hand tight, and so it was like, yeah, that's not gonna fly. So we got that one fixed per RLC being there or whatever, and that was good. And then RLC also, and that was on February 6th. RLC also came out to address some issues on 2nd Street. We had a couple places that had just been settling, and so we brought in some gravel and did some compaction and got those residents happy about that. So that is that type of stuff in terms of water. In terms of the other role of being the town manager, we've had some things happen in this last month, for sure. It's really hard. This is something I don't really want to spend a lot of time, everybody's time on, but it's something that needs to be addressed, I feel like. Number one, I would like to put on public record, I would like to say that I'm sorry to Kim Garding. I had a telephone conversation with her, and I acted in an unprofessional manner. Beyond that, there's a whole issue of the legitimacy of the security camera in our office. And what that has really done is it's kind of shooken the foundation of both transparency, honesty. Some situations of that, we've had some really hard looks and some really, really good talks and some hard talks about really clearing up these types of issues. I think we are on a good path. And what I would really, really like to express to the public and everybody, and tell your friends or whatever, if you have issues with the town, the best solution that I have come up with is please write it down. Please bring your concerns to us, whether it's something that, administrative or out in the field, out in the town. If there's something you see and we don't see it all. We don't know about, a broken tree limb that might be irritating you beyond belief or whatever. It would only help us, and it'll only benefit us really being a community. This is a small community, and I just feel like the best way to get, situations handled is come to us. And if they're written down, it's undeniable. And I've talked to Lorene, and it's like me and Lorene, we would like to be together and field these types of conversations together, and so that we know that things will be done, and as well as the whole council, anything. We're not against reaching out. We're here for you guys. We absolutely are. And so I just really want to make that clear and hope that we can move forward on a good foot.
Thank you, Charlie.
Yes, thank you,
I want
Karen.
to tell you thank you definitely for crushing it here on getting this figured out. And what a big move of 300,000 gallons that we now have accounted for and fixed.
Right.
And thank you also for taking the lead on the situation regarding the camera. I have requested, because I can appoint people to do things, I have asked Councilor Fox to do some research. It's legal for us to have a camera in the office, but it is not legal for the footage of the camera to go to an individual's phone. And so what we're looking into is, how do you manage the data? Who gets to see it? What's the protocol? And creating a policy about it. So, hey, perfect timing. And so, While Paul's taking a seat here, I'd like to ask if council, do you have any questions of Charlie regarding his report or anything to say?
I'm not sure I want to see the position.
Okay.
As always, nice work, Charlie.
You can shut this out too.
And does anyone from the town here have a question or comment for Charlie?
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for all hard work.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And just in time, we're so happy that Paul Montgomery has arrived in time to do a water project with us.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks for making it a little early.
That last 15 minutes was a little bit rapid. I'm glad you guys weren't out there.
We will have to thank Amy Sherman for not showing up to the 6 o'clock you requested.
Right.
Yeah, just not tonight.
Compose myself here.
Yeah.
So, I guess the first item that I should clarify is I sent a engineer's report last week. Like I asked you to do in my email today, please discard that one, and you got a new one here. As far as the water project goes, no significant change from the February financial status report. We are going to be preparing an invoice this month and submitting it for consideration at the next town council meeting, along with the regular funding package request for disbursement and so on from the SRF loans and so on. So this next item, you have a $1 million special appropriation grant with a 20% cost share provision to undertake, excuse me for just a second, turn my phone off here. I believe the town has elected to use that grant for water storage tank. So I guess some interesting facets to that project. The water tank was actually part of the original water improvements project that we just completed. It was eliminated from the project scope after bids because it was, the town couldn't afford to pay for it. So we do have a preliminary design already on the books, so we can save some money there as far as design goes. I did prepare, I may be jumping the gun a little bit here, but I did prepare a cost estimate for that project. It comes to be about $1.28 million. That would be using the $1 million special appropriations grant, and then the town coming up with the remaining $276,000. The DNRC has said that the town, since you got a forgiven principal, essentially a grant from SRF during the last project, you would also be eligible for that for this project. I thought it was going to go the other way. So like you got your forgiven principal last time, no more well, the town is actually a really good candidate for forgiven principal grant money. So I, taking that construction, the project estimate and going to the next page, I did put together a preliminary project budget. So again, a $1.276 million overall project. All of the design and construction management and grant administration and so on are in that figure already, along with a contingency just to account for the unknowns in bidding and so on. So anyhow, we're, I guess, moving ahead with that, presuming the town wants to. I have put together a scope of services. The first thing that needs to be done is this EPA grant, whereas it's already earmarked for the town of Alberton, it still does need to be applied for. And then also there's a fairly intensive environmental review process that needs to be conducted. We've already gotten a start on that because I said, again, it was part of the original design. So we've got a jump start on that environmental review. And on the design, we just need to put together the application on the town's behalf and work with the town and the town clerk in doing that. So with regard to that, I did put together a preliminary contract amendment to accomplish the following three things. One is financial technical assistance, and that's to assist the town with applying for that $1 million grant. Also applying for the SRF loan and trying to get forgiven principal for the town's share. And then design and bidding services for the project itself, which would be a new steel at-grade drinking water storage tank and yard piping. And this would be right next door to the town's existing 300,000 gallon tank. And then lastly, construction management services, which is, construction inspection and reporting and assisting with the funding packages, so on. So that I submitted by email today. If there's any questions on that, by all means, ask me. That's I guess the funding status. As far as the overall water distribution project, we have, and this is a project that was just completed. We have verified the draft as-built drawings with our contractor, our inspector, and with Charlie. So, Charlie, there is an electronic version of your as-built drawings, and there is a hard copy.
Very cool.
Of those. So what I have yet to do on the project is to curate all the photographs so Charlie can, if he, he's having a leak or something show up at, the corner of Apple and Railroad, he'll be able to go into the pictures and find out exactly what's in the ground, and then also consult the as-bills. So he'll know what's buried out there. And lastly, on the overall project status, the spring water right, Water Environment Technology, who is our sub-consultant, did respond to the DNRC's deficiency letter. You put together an application to capture all of the water that's coming out of the spring, increasing the instantaneous demand, and so that application was prepared. DNRC responded with a deficiency letter, and Water Environment is putting together a response to that deficiency letter. But everything is on track to secure the entire water right for everything that comes out of the spring. Okay. Right now, and for the past several decades, you've been using more water than you had a right to use. So I'm not saying shame on you or anything, it happens. But one of the outcomes of this overall project was to square those water rights.
Thank you.
And then other matters, I just want to confirm you want to use the special congressional grant for the storage tank rather than wastewater, which is another whole thing to try to bite off at this point. We prepared the estimated construction cost and overall project budget, a draft engineering agreement to cover the application, design, construction management, post-construction was provided to you. And the objective is another 200,000 gallon storage tank directly west of the existing tank at grade, so that the tanks that we're considering are a welded tank or a bolted steel tank. So there's kind of a representation of what both of those look like. I don't know if the town has a preference. At 200,000 gallons, we're right on the cusp of where the bolted tank and the steel tank are about the same price. Okay, so this is going to be kind of tucked up in the trees. I don't know if you have an aesthetic desire to make it match the existing welded tank. If you care one way or the other, please let me know. I am getting quotes from tank suppliers, both bolted and welded steel. And actually, Charlie chased another outfit down to give us a bolted steel tank quote.
I think our decision will probably reflect the advisement of the water officer, so.
Yeah.
Are you gonna say something?
I think we can look into it, and I mean, you know, the existing tank is a welded steel tank. It is held up very well. It was built in 1968. I'm sure that they have to have, you know, certified welders and the whole gamut. But I feel like anything, if there is any kind of cost, I don't foresee any issue going either way. You know, if it was bolted together or not. But I probably want to look into seeing if those bolts need to be torque spec'd, how often, and kind of look at the maintenance program if there ever would be one. But
So I can give you a brief description of what you're up against.
Yeah.
So with a welded steel tank, and you're aware of this, every 10 years, every 15 years, you have to have it coated, at least on the inside, recoated on the inside. And sometimes it's necessary to recoat them on the outside as well. So I've included in the overall project budget a reserve fee to have the tank coated, whether it's welded or whether it's bolted, every 15 years. So that's included in the user rate impact that you'll see on that project budget there. So welded steel tank, yes, all certified welders. Coating is necessary, and but they rarely leak, if ever. Okay, unless somebody shoots a hole in them, which is a popular thing to do in Montana. Now the bolted steel tanks, they come from the factory with a glass surface fused on the inside, so they don't rust. They don't require internal coating, again. But there's gaskets between all of the bolted layers, and sometimes those gaskets will go bad, and then you'll have leakage, and they have to be replaced or torqued out. It's rare. I haven't seen it happen with the most recent bolted tank technologies that are out there. It's one thing that used to be a big problem. It's not a huge problem anymore. The bolted tanks come in a very pretty blue color from the factory. So they have a coating that's baked on the outside and then glass fused to the inside. So that's all I have about tanks.
Do you want us to make a decision on that now, or are we still waiting for you?
It's really early in the process right now, so you guys decide on what you want. The one thing that I will say is that the ambient guy, he was talking about building a tank that you can add rings to and add storage volume in the future.
Yeah.
It doesn't work in Alberton because you're on an altitude valve.
elevation.
Yep, the tanks have to operate at the same level.
Yep.
Okay.
Totally
You can't build one higher and expect it to work right. Water doesn't do that.
Yeah.
Council, do you have any questions of Paul or Paul?
If not, it's all good. Thanks, Paul.
You bet. Can I ask a favor? Well, I guess two favors. Can I get an updated email list so I've been trying to email you, Mayor,
Yes,
and the email that's on your,
is wrong. Yes.
so it keeps coming back. I'm like, ugh. So,
I have a card right over there, but yes, we will
Okay.
make an effort. You'd like all of us?
yes, everyone.
And, I mean, we've got
Sure.
Charlie
Yeah,
and the town.
Right.
So good.
So yeah, just an updated email list for everybody that's on the town council.
You betcha.
And then, if you could see your way clear to putting together a letter of recommendation for Anderson Montgomery, and I would just respectfully request you do that. I'm not demanding anything, but
And when would you?
it always helps
Like that.
at your convenience. No rush.
Terrific. Make a note of that. Did anyone in the town have a question for Paul? Comment? Thank you, Paul.
You bet. May I excuse myself? I have to go back and care for some elderly parents.
You certainly
Yeah,
may.
don't drive too fast though.
Yeah. Listen back.
You guys
And
are great.
he's gonna-
It's a truck, it's a big black Dodge pickup truck. It's not the little one in Audi.
Awesome. Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you so much. Oh, you bet.
Very good. Wonderful. Well, moving on to quarterly reports, we've got not only the sheriff here tonight, but we have a deputy as well, and we've got the report time.
Slide up here so nobody has to break their neck. Good evening. For those that don't know me, I'm Sheriff Ryan Funk. Our Alberton hours, I guess 86.5 is the number. We had 86.5 hours of patrol this last month. A lot of civil services because, of course, court dates. When we write tickets, people commonly fight them, so we have to have court. We've been doing a lot of business checks and bar checks, and trying to go to sporting events. Because this doesn't count for this month, but I was at the spelling bee, so it's pretty cool watching the kiddos spell some of those words. Would probably blow you guys away, because I was just like, man, that kid's like in the 4th grade, like I can't even spell that word. So, but it was good to see the showing from all the schools. Our deputy who was on FTO, Toby Sutton, I don't know if he came down. Has he been introduced to you guys? All right, next month that's my mission. He'll come down. He just got off field training, so we're full staff for the first time since October. We have a deputy going out. He's having knee surgery, so we'll be short again. But that's the way of the world when you're bare bones. So we'll continue. If you guys don't know, we provide 80 hours. Anything above that, the town doesn't get charged. We just come down here and that's the service that we provide. But it's normally right around, I think last year was like 82 or 83 hours. So we're pretty consistent around that 80 hours. But if needed, we'll work a lot more. Also attached to their packets, this is just something that's been brought up over the last month and a half. This is a draft ordinance for weapons inside the town. We're a constitutional carry state. I think we need to make the town also more of a constitutional carry and not have so much weapon restrictions as far as our ordinance. I went through your guys' book. There's a lot of stuff even from like 1994. It's 2026 and I would like to see those updated. I was at Superior's meeting last night and one thing that I brought up is I know this is really cumbersome, right? First reading, second reading, third reading. The wheels don't work very fast. So I think what I would like to see is like maybe per month we look at an ordinance, go through it, make sure if there's new Montana law, we try to get those updated. I think this is a huge thing. I think it's a constitutional right. So I think this is just a help. I drafted this and I ran it through our deputy county attorney as far as county-wise. So you don't have to use your city attorney and like money-wise that way because that is Wally.
Yeah.
The only changes he had for me was city and town. He said it looked amazing. So I really appreciated that. After the draft ordinance, it just shows you what Mako, the county's insurance, sees as far as constitutional carry and how the law should be wrote with statutory language. The very last one is your guys's, oh no, it's not. Second to last is your guys' ordinance, which I talked to Lorraine right at the beginning. It's pretty much unlawful for any person to carry concealed upon his person pretty much anywhere in the town, right? We have concealed weapons permit, like I said, constitutional carry. So we got to work on this, and I think this would be a big step for a lot of people, especially a lot of people who like their Second Amendment rights, as we do. So that's a draft. If we can move it forward and maybe do first, second, third reading, if people have any feedback. The very last one's this restriction on local government regulation of firearms. You guys are a charter town. The thing with that is they can literally make their ordinances how they want to make their ordinances. They don't have to be specific whether they follow constitution, whether they follow state law, whether they follow federal law. So, but my recommendation is is to abide by this and go with this. But you guys can choose what you want.
Thank you.
You got it? Any questions?
Council, do you have any questions or comments?
And thank you for changing the meeting to 6. It really helps me because I live 60 miles that way, 50 miles that way. So I appreciate 6.
You're welcome.
So
Well, I appreciate all the work that you went
Yeah,
to pull this together for us.
you got it. And like I went through Superior's book. Superior's codes are all updated.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times, you know, whether it be Superior, like they'll change something and update it on their website, but it doesn't get to our book. How old do you think that paper was? There was things typed like typewriter typed in it.
Yeah.
So all that's now updated. And so I'll go through and compare ours, and then I'll try to be like weekly, just pick an ordinance and like go through it. And if it looks good, I mean, I can send you emails like, hey, maybe we should look at this one to help out, because I know it's a lot of work. I mean, that book's like, I don't even know how many pages.
Yeah.
It frightens me to think of how many pages are in it, but
Thank you for
I
that.
think we just need to be up to date on all that.
Thank you.
All right,
Nice.
Thank you, appreciate it.
thank you.
Thank you. And this evening, I know that it is the same night that the fire district has their board meeting for French Hammer Fire District, so we don't have anybody to give us a report here tonight. No county planner and the county attorney wasn't able to make it either.
Lorraine, can I talk for like 2 more seconds?
Only 2 more seconds.
Okay.
1,001.
You done? Sorry, so, there's so much to talk about. So, I don't know if you guys follow our social media page. We have an event coming up on April 4th to benefit Sean Smalley. He's a Mineral County Commissioner. He's got stage 4 colon cancer. It's called Guns and Hoses. It's Cops versus Firefighters basketball fundraiser. We got a lot of great silent auction things and live auction things. Snowy Mountain Firearms out of Hamilton donated a $5,500, see, Snowy Mountain County, $5,500, $6,000 hunting rifle. We're gonna live auction that at halftime. So if you guys wanna show up and show support, he's a retired highway patrol sergeant after 20 years. He's got seven or eight kids. He's adopted a lot of kids, so he's very community driven, he's a blessed man, other than cancer. So $10 an adult. We're gonna pull names for a gun, so it costs you $10. For 400 people, you got 1 out of 400 chance to pull a name for a free firearm. So there's a half a beef, fly fishing trips, guided hunts. There's a lot to offer. So April 4th at 1 o'clock silent auction starts. If you guys really want to watch a bunch of out of shape people play basketball, that'll start at 3. So 3 to 5. It'll be in Superior at the high school. And I can shoot Maureen. We made some pretty cool flyers that we could possibly hang up. So I wanted to make sure, I forgot that last night and I didn't want to forget. So I'd appreciate you guys spreading the word, and let's fill the gym and watch a bunch of out of shape people play basketball. Cops are gonna win.
Thanks for sharing that.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chair. On to old business, Les Road is not here this evening, but I can report upon what was already talked about from last month's meeting. Charlie and I had an opportunity to visit with Les, and he has decided to remove the building. He has also agreed to do that in 60 days. Does anybody need a review as to what we're talking about? We're all familiar with the situation enough?
I'm not.
Okay, up on 4th Street, North 4th Street, the road essentially dead ends right next to Les's house. And he has built a shed there, and now that the property across has sold and is being developed, it's been brought to the town's attention that his things, and including especially the shed, are not on his property. And so originally, that's why it says petition to vacate the public right-of-way. We were going to just give Les that end of the street. And instead, it was determined because it blocks the way for the neighbor, and this is the Jim Pelger that was talked about in the minutes reading, makes it difficult for him to navigate that corner. So in the end, it just seemed like simpler answer. He's going to go ahead and remove that. And additionally, with that, the town has agreed to protect the well that Les has had on that property that's also essentially at the end of 4th Street. And so our attorney is writing up some paperwork about that, and that will be forthcoming. So essentially, that issue has been handled amicably. Do you have anything else to add to the situation?
No, I think Les mentioned, so the well is also out in the town property, and he has explained that that property was the original, there was a schoolhouse put up there. So that well is like very old. It's back further than the shed, and that is his source of water. He's not connected to the town's water. So it is, you know, so that in terms of that part, yes, I do believe that that is a thing, and that we should get, you know, some actual paperwork on that it is solidified and taken care of.
Like
Yeah.
you're saying, it's gonna be okay for him to have that well right there
Yes.
and leave it there.
Well, to protect
Yeah,
it into
right.
the future.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Right.
so that there won't be question.
Yeah, because it'd be kind of interesting.
Right.
Oh,
Oh,
we were
there
just
he is.
talking about
Hi.
you.
Sorry, am I too late?
No.
We were just talking about you, and so I've reported that Charlie and I had come up and visited with you, and in our conversation that you agreed to remove the building in question and asked for 60 days to do so.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. I've got one ear working right
Oh, okay. That we talked with you, that Charlie and I came up and visited with you, and that you had agreed to move the building that was in question, and that you asked for 60 days to do so. And we agreed that that would be reasonable. And if that's still the understanding, we actually have agreement here for you to sign, if that would be acceptable.
Yeah, that's
And that
great.
we've also included in our conversation this evening that you weren't privy to draft up something from our attorney that will protect your well in the future, in perpetuity going forward, that you won't have any concern about anything changing with your well, which we're aware has been there, I'm gonna say 100 years, but it may not be quite that long, but
121 almost.
is it 120?
Wow.
Okay, well, there you go. So, does anyone have any questions regarding?
I have a question.
Great,
Why hasn't he been put on the water system?
because he has his own well,
Okay.
and that supersedes,
Everybody else in town, I can't drill a well in my yard.
no, at this point, because we are offering service, that supersedes the right to then drill a well. There is one other individual in town who also has an old well. It's not that old, but I don't know, do you have anything to say regarding that, Charlie, beyond what I've just said?
I don't think so. I mean, we'd have to, you know, look into it, but I don't see an issue. I mean, unless, you know, in terms of water rights in a town, and like, you know, I really feel like Paul would say, it's like the idea of building a community water system is for everyone's benefit. It is to actually like share and keep, you know, costs down or whatever if your well goes out or whatever. I will say another part of like in terms of protecting his well in terms of property, I don't think that the town is going to assume any kind of maintenance to the well, you know, and so it will be like a privatized situation, because that brings up a whole other things of like testing and different situations. We don't really want to absorb any of that, but I don't see issue, but it is, you know, like as Lorraine said, it's like we have a public water system. It's not, there are laws that we have, like nobody is allowed to just go drill a well on their land in the town limits. That is set. In terms of this, you know, this situation, it's been, you know, the term grandfathered in, or if we could see that, I don't, and again, if we need to bring up more discussion about it, I was unprepared, you know, like we can look into it more or whatever's necessary.
Would you like more information, Marvin?
No, thank you.
Okay. Does anyone
I'm
else
cool.
have a comment or a question that would like us to look further into this, or have a more definitive answer than what I've given? I do know that when a municipality offers water service, that takes precedence over someone being able to drill a well. And any existing wells then are allowed to continue unless something goes wrong with them, and then you're automatically then offered and put onto the public water system.
I do have a question.
Okay.
What if something happens to his well?
Dries up.
Like it dries up?
Yeah, so
Are you asking me or Charlie?
He would be.
either one,
If
would
something happened to my well,
become a
I'd probably fix it.
you would fix it.
Hopefully, if not, I'd have to get city water, but I
Right.
have 2 wells, I don't expect to ever need city water. I bought the place partially because I have spring water.
Right.
Just curious.
Yeah,
I don't know how wells work. I mean, it's a hole in the ground, but is it like
right.
in the old days where they have a brick walls around it?
My wells are underground, they're limestone lined cisterns,
Oh, okay.
and they're spring fed.
Oh, thank you.
They were dug for the original schoolhouse that was up there, that burned down in 1910.
Thank you.
Okay, that took care of old business, and I would like to propose a change if there is not opposition to this. I know that the Bear Smart people have a prior commitment that they need to leave, and so if we could jump forward, if there is an objection to the annual presentation from Bear Smart. I would like to
Let's
ask
do it.
Bear Smart to come forward.
Right, well, thank you for having us on the agenda tonight. We have a 3-part presentation for you this evening. Jamie Johnhole with Fish, Wildlife and Parks, most of you know him, is going to give us a quick update on bear activity in the area over this past year. Then I will do a presentation on where the town of Alberton is in the process of becoming a Bear Smart community, what we've done to date, what's remaining to be done before we can be recognized as a Bear Smart community. And then Jennifer Fortin Norias, who I've introduced to the group before, is going to do a presentation on some of the projects we were able to take on over the last year and some of our plans for 2026. So with that, Jamie, please proceed.
Yeah. So we had a phenomenal year last year with natural foods. I thought it was going to be a bad year because last winter was, low snowpack. So I'm kind of worried about this next year because our snowpack is not good. We have drought conditions, we might have natural food failure next year. But last year, phenomenal huckleberry, phenomenal chokecherry, phenomenal serviceberry and hawthorn. And as a result, we had very low, conflicts all over Region 2 in Missoula County. We did have about 6 or 7 reports of people just seeing grizzlies in the 9 Mile, no issues. And then we had 2 reports of grizzlies just outside of town here, kind of on the old road by the gravel pit between here and 9 Mile. This is where this one was photographed. And then I had another person see probably the same bear at the same site about a month later. So that's the first time we've had a grizzly actually photographed this close to Alberton, other than the 9 Mile grizzly years ago. We only had about, 6 or 8 reports of black bears last year, getting into garbage, a couple chicken coops. Again, it was very, very quiet, but lots of people saw black bears, driving down the interstate, feeding on bent over chokecherry and hawthorn. So a lot of bear activity, but no issues. Handful of lion issues too last year. Few chickens killed here and there, deer kills in people's front yards. This winter, Eli responded to a couple lion calls here in Alberton. And then I think it was in December, we had a road-killed black bear just near the off-ramp. But we're starting to see some bear activity elsewhere in Missoula County. So, in March is when the first big males start coming out, and then more and more bears through April and May. And that's all I have, unless people have any quick questions about bear activity.
Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you, Jamie.
We will have a time at the end, time permitting, for questions for any of the 3 speakers tonight. I'm going to sit down if you don't mind, because I'm old. And it's just better to sit down. I'm also apparently losing my voice tonight, so apologize for that. I'm not sick, so don't worry about catching something.
Have any trouble, Jennifer?
Sorry about that. We were up and running, we got even here half an hour early to make sure we were up and running and, have this issue. That's it. There we go.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, so thank you for having us again tonight. Bear Smart Alberton is just a little over 3 years old now. And so this is the 4th year that we've been here to the March meetings to give you a full formal update on our activities. I hope that's been productive for you. We appreciate Town of Alberton being a partner with us as we pursue the work of making Alberton a Bear Smart community. So I just handed out to each of the council members before the meeting a copy of our 2025 accomplishment report. I have a few additional copies of that here tonight. If anybody from the public would like a copy, just see me afterwards and I can get you one. This displays all of our accomplishments over the past year. 2025 was a very, very busy year for us. I felt like for the first time we were finally able to get a good foothold and start making significant progress. And that's primarily a result that we got some significant grant funding last year. It's amazing what you can do when you get a little money. So credit to those who have been funding us. Go ahead, Jamie. So one of our biggest accomplishments last year was the adoption of the Human Bear Conflict Management Plan for the town of Alberton. This is something that the town council adopted on September 17th, 2025. This was a huge step because for the first time, the town now has a management plan for how to manage bears and human conflicts in Alberton. And beyond that, the town has agreed to be an active participant in implementing this plan. So this is not just something from a group called Bear Smart Alberton. This is the town's plan now, and it's the town's intent to implement this town as we go forward. So, included in the plan, and we've talked about this before at previous meetings, plan outlines 6 steps to becoming a Bear Smart community. Once you've completed all those steps, then you can be recognized as a Bear Smart community. And that's, to be honest, that's kind of a feather in the cap of communities when they go through this process and clean up the bear attractants and become recognized as a Bear Smart community. So what we want to do tonight is talk about each of these 6 steps and just where we are as a community in achieving each one of these steps. So the first step is already done, it's completed, and that was to complete a community assessment of bear attractant sources. This is something that the Bear Smart Alberton Working Group completed in 2023, and it's basically just an inventory of your community. It's in no way a decision document because we don't have the authority to make decisions. It's simply an inventory, and it includes information like what's your project area. In this case, project area is the town of Alberton and some distance outside the town limits, including most of the areas where people who live there consider themselves a part of the Alberton community. So the subdivisions on the east and west end of town and some associated areas with that. It talks about the bear populations in the area, bear habitat, talks about the history of human-bear conflicts in the area. It talks about the types of bear attractants that are in the community and their relative abundance and importance. So step 2 then is also done. And we just talked about this a couple slides ago. This was preparing the management plan. So I want to give the town credit and thanks for taking that major step. That was a big step in the life of this program in Alberton. It was adopted, as we said, in September of last year. And so, whereas the community assessment identifies the kinds of attractants in your community, the management plan says, what can we do about it? Doesn't mandate anything, it just says, okay, now that we've recognized these issues, what are some ways we could deal with that and reduce the potential for human-bear conflicts? Step 3 then is ongoing, and that's to implement a public information, education, and outreach program. That slide, by the way, is a picture from our booth at Railroad Day a couple years ago. I can't overemphasize the importance of public information and education around this issue. If the public doesn't understand what causes human-bear conflicts and how important it is to clean up bear attractants out of your community, then they're not going to be supportive of the program. And if the public is not supportive of your program, it's not going to be successful. So this is super important, and a little later we'll talk about some progress we're making in this area. So I've called this ongoing. Now what does that mean? So for this presentation, I'm defining ongoing as meaning that we've started this, but it's never gonna end. There's never an end to public information and education. Well, why is that? It's because we have people always moving out of and moving into the community. A lot of our outreach work is with school kids in the community. And of course, they grow up and some of them stay here, some of them leave. But you've always got a new crop of school kids coming in. So there's always going to be a need for public information and education about the need to secure bear attractants in order to reduce human-bear conflicts. Step 4 then, I'm calling in progress. Well, what's the difference between ongoing and in progress? Ongoing, as I mentioned, is you've started it, but there's no end point. It's never going to end. In progress means that you've started it, but there is an end point. You're going to finish this at some point in the future. So this step is to review and revise planning guidance and ordinances. So planning guidance in general occurs at the county level. And we're talking about things like land use plans, zoning, subdivision reviews. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jamie, but the county contacts Fish, Wildlife, and Parks and asks them to comment on subdivision applications.
Correct.
With respect to their compatibility with bears and other wildlife. And so there's some things happening on that item, but to be perfectly honest, working with the county is an area that we've not engaged with very much so far. It needs to be done, but we've just not done much yet. I don't really anticipate huge conflicts with our existing land use plan and our existing zoning, but it's something we should take a look at in the future. Ordinances, on the other hand, happen at the municipal level, so that's an Alberton thing. Alberton does have a garbage ordinance currently, but it's really confusing and I think it's likely unenforceable. So the town council last year asked Bear Smart Alberton to help them draft a new garbage ordinance for the community. And we've done that now, and I'll give each council member a copy of that at the end of our presentation here tonight. Now, I will say that I've never drafted an ordinance before, so I would be the last one to say this draft is perfect. And that's why we're giving it to you as a draft, because our hope is that you will take it, look at it. If there are needs to make changes in it, you're certainly free to do that. And at some point, hopefully it will be passed, hopefully within coming weeks or months. I can tell you that in drafting this ordinance, I took a look at garbage ordinances from 15 other communities, which have similar issues with human-bear conflicts. So I think there's some good stuff in there, and I think it's sufficient, but you do need to take a look at it. And this will be your ordinance, so it's perfectly within your purview to revise it if you need to do that. So the 5th step is also in progress. So we've started it, and there will be an end, but we're not at the end yet. And that's to take action to actually reduce the attractants. So the community assessment was an inventory of what are the attractants in the community. The management plan is what are some things we can do about it. And this step is when you actually hit the ground and start physically doing stuff on the ground to reduce bear attractants in your community. The number one bear attractant in Alberton is garbage. And you've all seen that during the years when we have a lot of bears in town, you've seen the garbage strewn in the streets in the mornings. It's a huge problem. We are making good progress in that. I'm not gonna go into the details on that because I think Jennifer is gonna talk about some of the things we're doing with garbage in the town. I've mentioned at past council meetings that we have some garbage cans on order, some bear-resistant garbage cans. But Jennifer will fill you in on that. Once we take care of garbage though, there are a host of other bear attractants in Alberton. Things like fruit trees, chicken coops, goats, pet and livestock food that's either out on people's porch or in an open shed available to bears, bird feeders, compost piles. Essentially anything that bears perceive as food is a bear attractant. And there are a whole variety of those in our community. So what do we do about that? I'm not suggesting that we have another ordinance to deal with those things, at least right now. I mentioned previously that I couldn't emphasize enough the importance of public education and information. I think that's where we need to be at the present time on these types of attractants. We need to be in a position to inform the public of why it's important to take care of these attractants. We need to inform them of how to do it. And in a lot of cases, we need to provide them with financial assistance to do that. For example, building things like electric fences around fruit trees or chicken coops or whatever. We've done a little bit of that already. There's huge potential to do more of that in Alberton. Another thing that we're looking into, and I think Jennifer will mention this also, is a fruit gleaning program. So we have a lot of fruit trees in Alberton that really aren't being used. The fruit grows on the trees, it falls on the ground, it rots, it attracts bears into Alberton. So we're thinking about a gleaning program, a volunteer program, to have people help us gather that up. Maybe some of it can be utilized for making apple cider or feeding to livestock, or there's a bunch of various uses that could be used for, but that's one thing we're looking at. Now, if you teach people how to secure their attractants, show them how to do it, give them the money to do it, and they still won't do it, maybe at some point in the future there will be a need for an ordinance. But we're not there yet. And I think that's something we need to monitor and gauge as we go along. As I said, public information is a long-term thing, so we have some time to work on this. But if we don't take care of these in some fashion, we're still going to have bears coming into Alberton, even if we provide everyone with a bear-resistant garbage can. So step 6, the final step, is another one that's ongoing. And with this one is to monitor bear-human conflicts in the community and enforce attractant reduction measures. So this would be talking about the garbage ordinance, and if just in a future date, we have other ordinances, that would be the case as well. Now, monitoring the conflicts is the easy part, because for a number of years, Fish, Wildlife, and Parks has had a computerized system in place that tracks this. They track bear sightings, both black and grizzly bears, and they track any human bear conflicts. Jamie has his ear to the ground all the time, so he becomes aware of a lot of these. But anybody can either call up Fish and Wildlife and Parks or go on their website and report either a bear sighting or a conflict with bears. And that system has proven to be reliable. You can query it in various ways, find out how many conflicts there have been in a certain period, what type of conflicts, all that kind of stuff. So that's working well. Enforcement is a little bit more challenging, but I think it's completely doable. once you have the systems in place, once you've educated the public, once you've provided with the finances to secure their attractants, once you've given them the technical assistance on how to do that, and once you have adequate legal guidance where necessary, then your system's in place. And at that point, it just becomes a matter of will. Will you do it or won't you do it? Now, the ordinance, the draft ordinance, I'm going to give you a copy of tonight, does include some language about enforcement. Talks about who's responsible for that, and how that can be accomplished. So you can look at that and see what we think would work on that. So in summary then, out of the 6 steps to become a Bear Smart community, 2 are done, 2 are ongoing and will never be done, and 2 are in progress and will be done at some future point. So I believe that working together, we've accomplished a whole lot. And by working together, I'm talking about Bear Smart Alberton, Alberton Town Government, Fish, Wildlife and Parks, the garbage hauling industry, and a whole host of non-government entities, several of which have given us funding, others which have given us technical advice. There's just a lot of people who have a stake in what happens here in Alberton with making this a Bear Smart community. So we're not alone. We have lots of help, and we're making good progress as a result of that help. Still a lot of work to do, however, and we expect to continue making progress on that. I think some of it, as I said, will continue forever, but it's going to get easier with time as we get used to doing this, as the people in the community understand better and get used to seeing what's happening here. And I think it's worth doing. So the challenge then is Alberton up to doing this? And I think the answer to that is definitely yes. And I believe that in a few years, we're all going to be looking back on this, and we'll be able to be proud of what we've accomplished in our community as far as cleaning up our community from the things that are attracting bears into our town. There will be no need for bears to be shot in the middle of our town, no need for the school to be closed down because bears are walking the streets, no need for kids or other people in town to be afraid of what could happen. I think that will be a great accomplishment and something that we can all take a lot of pride in. So that's the end of my part of this, and Jennifer is up next.
Or should I do it for you?
No, you. Yeah, thanks. Bob, Bob touched on some of these things, so I'll be pretty quick. We did a lot of community events in 2025. We continue to increase every year the number of community events that we've been able to participate in. Part of that is because the grant money that Bob mentioned that Bear Smart Alberton successfully received, and as part of that, brought me on as a part-time community coordinator, which really some of Jamie's time doing community events, and then a lot we do together. One of the most fun things this year was I was able to go into the Alberton School librarian class every day for a whole week and hit all of the K through 6th grades. And in doing that, we did a different kind of game to learn different parts about bear biology. I think the kids really enjoyed that. I thought it was fun because it was interactive, and by developing these type of curriculum, when we see these kids frequently, they won't be hearing the same thing from us every time. When we go to the Conservation District Conservation Day, as you can see in this picture, Jamie's talking about bear identification. So we do talk a lot about bear identification at those kind of big fair events we do, such as Railroad Days. But then we have an opportunity when we go to the schools to dive a little bit more into the biology, which is kind of fun.
I already mentioned your identification is really important because that informs how we react to bears. We talk about bears' foods and hyperphagia. So hyperphagia is that period in the fall, if you don't know, where they're driven to eat as many calories as they can to go into hibernation. And that can be the time of year that conflicts increase when we have poor food years. We were really fortunate this year to have a really good natural food year. But that can be a time when bears are driven, in particular, to look into town for easy food sources. Also talking to the public and kids about what's driving that bear behavior and how bears then learn to get attractants. And my favorite thing is bears are lazy, and so until you kind of around them a lot, you don't realize how lazy they are. So once they get something easy, they come back again and again. And that's kind of that gateway of them getting something like the garbage or a bird feeder, and then, oh, that was really easy, so I'm going to come back again and again. We've seen that frequently in bears, so how we can manage our attractants in general, and talking about what attractants are and how to prevent those in the bear summer community. So it was really fun. These pictures are from the Bull Orchard Community Day, where we had the opportunity to have our booth there with education, but also talk about the electric fence that was put up around the orchard to decrease that as an attractant, which is a great example of what's feasible in the middle of a town. As Bob mentioned, we have received grant money for bear-resistant garbage cans. Garbage is almost always the #1 attractant in towns, and so that is usually the easiest thing to clean up. We have had some struggles working to get those ordered, but at this point in time, our first round of grants that we received last summer had money for our 87 cans, which are on order. And then we also just recently received money for an additional 150 cans. So those will be provided to the community free of charge. And so once we know when those are going to be on the ground, we will start doing the outreach to people who will be receiving them first. And that's great to be able to provide them free of charge, because a lot of other places like Missoula, they're $10 extra a month. So it can be an expense. So this grant money was really fortunate because that enables us to not increase prices for residents in providing them. And because Republic Service owns them, if something breaks, they will switch them out or fix them, which is also really important to us. Whoop. And then finally, just real quick, 2026, additional bear-resistant cans. You may notice that some of the people around town have 300-gallon cans. They don't make a bear-resistant version of that. So, for example, at the school, they have 4 of them. So we're working with the welding class at the school to build an enclosure. You can see this is an example enclosure that they're welded. And so if you don't have a place or you don't have cans that are very resistant, this is a great alternative. So we got grant funding to pay for all the materials for that welding, and we're working with the school on the placement and the design. So that's going to be a fun project with the welding class. I'm really excited about that. We've engaged very smart communities in a lot of places around Montana, have engaged welding classes in high schools from grain bin doors to enclosures, and I think it's a great way for the students to get involved and have ownership of it. And actually here, we're really excited about the design of it too, which is also really nice, because then they have pride in how it's going to look out there. Electric fences, some chickens and other fruit trees and such. If people are interested in electric fences around their attractants, we have several programs that can either match or cover costs for electric fencing. So please reach out to us. We have some direct grant funds, but then we also work a lot with Defenders of Wildlife. They have the 50-50 cost share. Last week I went to the 4-H club because Wildlife Services will cover electric fences for free for any 4-H or FFA livestock project, which I think is really great. They'll come put it up and help you. So there's all kinds of programs to protect livestock, fruit trees, and backyard chickens from mountain lions and bears. So please, if you know projects that are interested, let us know. We hope to do more of those this year. There's actually, we are working with the 9 Mile Working Group. They were arranging on April 25th. There's going to be electric fence demonstration out there. So Wildlife Services will be there, Fish, Wildlife Parks, Defenders of Wildlife, Wildlife Services. So there will be an actual demonstration and an opportunity to talk to people about what those different options are. I'll be posting flyers around the community in the next few weeks and post it on social media. It's just a free event to come, get information and see how they operate and how to. Sorry, I have to pick up a child. Thank you. This is awesome. Then most exciting, all the other events we did before, we're going to do again. But new this year is our Apple Festival. So on September 19th, we're going to have an Apple Festival here in Community Park. Still working out all the details, but that is a way, hopefully, to get fruit off the trees in the community that would not otherwise be used. So we're hoping to coordinate on Friday a gleaning, so people don't want their fruit or cannot pick their own fruit. There's a lot of cities that have done this, and there's a group of volunteers that will come pick that fruit for you. And then on Saturday, we'll press that fruit and any other fruit that people bring into cider, and then people can take the cider home with them. So hopefully we're also going to be inviting anybody else who wants to come and participate. We're going to invite the farmers market and so forth to come and have tables and just make it a fun community afternoon with music and such. So that's all I had. Unfortunately, I do have to run pick up the child. Last week I didn't, but thank you all for your time this evening, and Bob and Jamie are here for questions.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Thanks, Jennifer.
Yeah, if anyone has questions for any of the three speakers, we're happy to try to address them.
Hearing none, I think we'll move forward if that's all right.
Thank you very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Very good, a lot of work went into that. So just for fun, I'm gonna go move up the agenda, if that's all right, and call Blue Cutler to talk about the story walk stations.
Okay, thank you for having me tonight. My name is Blue Cutler, and I'm the librarian here at the Alberton Branch Library. And I am seeking approval to add a story walk to the park here at the Alberton Park. I made little flyers for everybody. I don't know if you have them in front of you, but it just goes over what a story walk is. A story walk is a creative approach to storytelling that invites children to move from page to page of a book displayed along a path. It enhances early literacy, boosts physical activity, and fosters social connection. And they encourage family bonding and promote healthy lifestyles and increase the use of public spaces. These look like, for you guys that can't see, they're like little signs, and each sign displays 2 pages of a children's book. So there'll be 16 signs, because most children's books are 32 pages. We have received funding from the Alberton School for this project. Your second page of the flyer I made you shows an example of how the story walk would look along the path. This isn't a finalized version, it's just an example of what it could look like. And then your last pages are just the frame itself, what it looks like, and how it would be installed into the ground. So some alternate uses for this project could also be Railroad Day. We could display information about the history of the town, and also for Earth Day we could do something for that. Yeah. And so that's all. Do you guys have any questions for me?
What is your timeline for when you want to start?
It takes about 5 weeks to get the signage ordered. Okay. So we're looking at probably late April to early May.
Okay.
Marvin, have you had a chance to look at this proposed sign location? And cross-reference it with any sprinkler, stuff we had going on?
I'm just struggling with that. That's gonna be a nightmare.
That would be one concern I
I
have.
have 16 posts out there for the fear of hitting water
Yeah.
lines. I have no way to determine where they are,
Okay.
and that's gonna be a bugger to mow around.
Charlie, is there a way we can determine where the sprinkler lines are? I mean, it doesn't have to happen right now, but like just.
We have old maps, but they're so confusing, I don't think we can ever figure out where the water lines really are.
My concern would be that if we're digging posts, we might hit a line, which
Yeah.
has happened.
Oh, yeah.
Before. I think it sounds like a great idea, just, I want to make sure that we're not damaging any infrastructure.
How about putting a post in like a 5-gallon bucket of sand,
I mean, I
rocks?
like the idea of more permanent posts as, like a fixture in the park, because I do like the idea that this can be sling for all year round, And it would also, you might imagine, probably be easier to vandalize if it's in a bucket.
Yeah, true.
It could disappear. But yeah.
And is the intent that they would be located around the walking path?
The walking path, yes.
So that might reduce the likelihood that there's a conflict with a sprinkler.
I was thinking
To
they
some
could
degree.
end around maybe the tennis court area,
Uh-huh.
just from the library to the tennis court.
I'm sorry, Marvin?
When they put in the water, the walking path, they tore up lines all over the place.
Okay, so
So,
there's no given,
Right.
okay?
I don't think, I
Okay.
think it'll be fun. Sure, we'll figure it out.
Great, that's what I want to hear. Cool.
I think it's a great idea.
Thank you.
That's a good concern though, for sure.
Well, as long as it's something on your radar, and you can work with Marvin and Charlie to make sure that we don't damage any sprinkler lines, because that was a huge pain. This sounds fantastic. Thank you for putting all that work in.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Thanks for that.
Do you need anything from us at this point?
Not at this point, I don't think
Okay.
I'm good right now.
Well,
Great.
wonderful. Thank you very much for the presentation. Does town have any questions for Blue? Council? That's all? Okay. Wonderful. That's
Do we need to
exciting.
vote on this tonight?
No, is that right? We don't need to vote on it tonight. We could vote on it in April if we want to look into things further, or do you want us to vote on it tonight?
I was thinking to vote on it tonight, but
Okay.
I'm not.
Council, what do you say?
Well, it has to be, is this something that the council has to vote on? It's just like town maintenance kind of stuff?
I would say as far as sprinklers aren't even on yet, I don't think, right? So, I'd say we'd like to at least fire them up, locate all the sprinklers, right, Charlie?
Yeah, for sure.
I think.
I think we've been in contact with RC. RC's put in a lot of our sprinkler system, and we really do want to try to get like some kind of cohesive map as well as we can this spring. RC, we talked to him last fall, and he's definitely committed to coming out and helping. He typically does kind of our fire up too, or helps out with that. And the thing about sprinkler lines too is they're not super deep, so if it's kind of both, because the likeliness of hitting them because of that, but also fixing them. It's not really the end of the world. I feel like we can definitely make that happen and get them in and not compromise the
You just break a
sprinklers.
line, I'll come out on my own time and fix it.
Yeah,
What's your name?
for sure.
So any additional comments? Council, I would entertain a motion.
So are you saying that we need to approve this as a council, this?
To move forward with the project, with the investigation that you just talked about with where the sprinkler heads are, to work together on?
I would motion to approve it. That way, we can get things ordered and get it underway and buy us some time just to do some proper locating.
I'll second
Everyone's
it.
in agreement with that?
Okay. Thank you. So Kyle has motion, Marvin has second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, wonderful. Next additional business item for action is that we neglected to elect a president of the council, and I brought the Montana Code annotated. It is Title VII, Chapter 4, number 4403, which is officers and employees, office of city council member. So officers of city or town council, the council may elect a president who, in the absence of the mayor, is the presiding officer and may perform duties of mayor. In the absence of the president, the council may appoint one of its number to act in the president's place. So it's a measure to ensure that should I not be available, that, if you want to pass it on, we can have our meetings as scheduled. So I have printed up little slips that have the 4 council members' names on them. So at this time, I would entertain a nomination from the council of a council member for president. Oh, and I want to...
You want us to write it on here?
No, I want you to verbally nominate someone, and then after we have the nominations, should we have more than one nomination, we'll need to vote. So...
I nominate Sharon Briggs.
Okay, so we have one nomination on the board. Do we have a second for Sharon?
Well, I'd like to also nominate Kyle.
And Kyle, okay.
That's funny, because I'd like to nominate Tim.
Get on down.
Sharon, do you accept your nomination?
So that would be.
Yeah, I got a lot of free time, I know.
I work out of town a lot. I'm not always 100% available, so I would be okay with signing up, but I know what my schedule does, and I would like to bring that to the table in the decision making. I know Tim works from home, he's a smart guy.
Okay, so you accept the nomination, Tim?
I'd like to accept the nomination, yeah.
Kyle, do you accept nomination?
For myself?
You were nominated by Tim.
Yes, I would not.
You would not. So Kyle is passing the ball, and now we have then a election face-off with Sharon versus Tim. So thus I printed up the ballots. If council would like to take a moment and vote while I also explain, and then once you vote, please hand them to me. The president would also, is also going to have an additional duty in that we've discovered in the item coming up next is the town clerk appointment, that we only have 2 people on our software and on our signing for checks and so forth. And so I'm going to add whoever becomes the new president as a signer on the account. And this will also serve as an additional checks and balance for the council and the town. So as soon as you finish.
Is that legal?
Yes, we just spoke with the,
Attorney?
no.
Powers that be.
I'm sorry, we were online with the League of Towns and Cities that we're a member of, and they suggested, don't you have more than 2 people? And so that's what brought that back. We have votes. Does anyone in the town here present have a question about what we're doing here tonight? Or council have any question regarding how this works? Are you ready to tally the big vote?
Ready.
1 vote for Tim. 1 vote for Sharon. 1 vote for Tim. And an additional vote for Tim. So Tim is our new president.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Tim? Are you sure you want to?
Yeah,
Accept it.
I got it.
All right, very good. So I'll talk to you about what's next for you too.
Yeah, we can schedule a meeting, a meeting.
we will do a meeting after the meeting. And so then that brings us to the next item, in that our town clerk has resigned, and then unfortunately became ill this week, and so we had to do a little scrambling. And I have discovered, amongst some of my new powers that I have, I may appoint a town clerk that will be interim. That will be Shannon Cuneo, who you see here taking notes, and who is the bookkeeper, treasurer, accountant, I don't know what all your things are, you could say, for seniors here, as well as sporties across the street, so I was aware.
I just do fill in, I don't do the books for sporties, but
She
I do
knows
some financial
about
stuff.
bookkeeping stuff. And so I knew that we would be able to accomplish what we needed to, and so tonight, town council unfortunately had about 3 different packets of claims to collate together after we spent most of the day doing that. And so I appoint Shannon Cuneo to be our interim town clerk. We do have advertising around in Frenchtown, in Superior. I've even brought flyers to Missoula, so to extend that now to you. There is a job posting on the door of the town hall. If anyone has an idea of anywhere else to post, we do have a couple of applicants so far. We haven't determined when we would close it, because we've been through a few clerks in the last few years, and it would be nice if we could deliberate carefully and choose well, so that we have a clerk for a long period of time.
Will the council be making that selection, or will it be you?
It will be me doing interviews, and then once I have sorted through, I will bring that information to the council for approval. Thank you for that question.
Yeah, we didn't get to do that with the last one, so.
That's my understanding. And so most definitely it will be brought to council for final approval, and I'm imagining that will be a special meeting, so that then that way we don't have a 4-hour meeting, and we'll do it as a special meeting. So, with that said, clerk, do you have any notes to add? Any clerk notes, Bob?
Not at this time.
Not at this time.
It's my first day.
That's your first day. So obvious to me, and what I had already thought about in terms of the mayor notes, is that we have some ordinances that need to be updated. And so when last month, when Kim was here, she had mentioned how the ordinance book had been removed from the library, and even though the ordinances have not been updated yet, the book is back in the library so that people can have access to them there, in printed form. They're available on our website, and one at a time, 2 at a time, here we're going to start working our way through them and get them updated, because that is very important. Another item of importance is transparency, and that was illustrated in Charlie's conversation regarding things that are going on in the town. And I want to, if you didn't hear before, call everyone's attention to my business cards that are there by the orange flyer, so that you can have my mobile number. I'm here for you. That's what I took this on for. I work for you. And these folks here as well are your voice, and to represent you so that we can move forward in a proper fashion, following the laws and the rules. I took an oath to uphold the Constitution of the state and the U.S. Constitution, so I definitely intend to do that. I did go to a training. It was wonderful. I learned a whole lot. It was specifically a mayor training, and I know that there is one coming up in May that will be offered to not only the clerk, and hopefully we'll have a new clerk hired by then, but it will be for council members as well. So in moving forward with better communication, I will be meeting with the council 2 members at a time, because when you have 3 council members or more in a room together, you now have a public meeting. And so, two at a time, we can get our heads together and begin to communicate better together. And so that's the purpose of that. Does anybody have any thoughts or questions or concerns about what I've said, Chris?
The audit, was the audit ever done when they were looking for volunteers to volunteer to audit the town about 7 months ago?
That was actually, so the term is a governance review. And that was actually last year that the team to do that would have been elected or would have run for election. And if, I believe it's a 4-member team, one individual is appointed from the council that would do the review. And the purpose of the review is to determine if, for instance, the style of governance we have here is a mayor-council format. There are 7 others, and I would love to be able to spout it off the top of my head exactly how that works tonight. But I will bring that for you next month because I have an intention of doing a education minute during my mayor notes. And so to answer your question, we have missed our opportunity. The governance review automatically happens on the ballot every 10 years. And unfortunately, I'm kind of chalking this up to a lack of understanding of what the review is about. It didn't end up happening. So people from the community, and it's the same as who was allowed to elect us into our positions, it's only Alberton proper that can participate in this, so you have to be someone who lives in Alberton in order to serve on the governance review. And then there's a special training that you go to that's provided by MSU, the local government center, and you learn about governance and small municipalities like we have. There are, oh my goodness, I just learned of how many small municipalities there are, and there are maybe a dozen who are actually participating.
When the core town group shows no interest in doing it, what happens then?
We pass our opportunity to do the review. So we wait another 10 years for it to hit the ballot again, and at that point in time can vote. And from my looking into this extensively, talking with the clerk, the election clerk, in the past when this has come onto the ballot, it's been separated into 2 things. Have the governance review, and then pass the part about the amount allocated in order to manage the review, because it is a financial concern. I can't remember what that dollar threshold is. I think it might be $10,000, but anyhow. That then this past year, it was determined, put it into one vote, do the governance review, and have the allocation of the funds in order to perform that review. Because there's the training involved, and
so now that you're a town that has no citizens that want to be part of the review and the review's not done, what are we losing because of that?
an opportunity, should it be determined, and it would need to be determined by these people that had either been elected or came forward and said they wanted to participate in it, attend the training, learn the styles of governance, and I believe there are 7, and then determine their recommendation. Oh, I believe this form of government would better serve our town, coming from our town. Bring it to the council, and then have it voted upon. And it's a situation like adopting an ordinance where it's not brand new, it's instant, that we would have to discuss it, get it brought to the council, and then we vote on after 2 readings of we wish to change our style of government that this municipality operates under.
Thank you.
You're
I
most
have a
welcome.
question. How come it's gonna be 10 years before they do it again?
That is according to the code. Every 10 years, it is automatically put
on
onto the ballot. Yes. It's not something that we go, oh, hey, we want to do a review. It's an automatic happening that it hits the ballot every 10 years. And that's every community that has a municipality. that operates as we do, that has one style of governance or another.
All right, so you're saying if we wanted to do it more often, we'd have to change the code that we operate under?
And that would take
At a higher level.
FT Congress.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Pope. Yeah. So, thank you for that question. That's something that I did definitely learn some more about.
Yeah.
That's all I had for this evening, and now let's open up the floor for some public comment.
Seth Troyer from Northwest City Bible School. Thank you,
Seth.
Mayor Felstep, for your leadership.
Thank you.
And just wanted to just give a little update on our choir that's going to be out. We were just at the church locally in Alberton on Sunday. Thank you to those of you who were there to show up for our choir. We're going to be in Frenchtown on Sunday, and that's going to be at 10:30 Frenchtown Community Church. If you'd like to join us this coming Sunday, I have some other services as well that are going to be locally. Thank you for attending our taco sales. There are a lot of people from Alberton. We had an awesome taco sale yesterday. So the next one, the last one for the school year, is going to be April 6th. So I'd encourage you to mark your calendars. That's Monday, April 6th, 4 p.m. to 6:30. We'd love to have you come. Come make us mash up some more fry bread. That's literally what we had to do last night with so many people. So thank you so much. Privilege to be part of the community.
Wonderful. Thank you, Seth. Appreciate you coming. And last call, public comment. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion.
Bill first.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
Seconded by Sharon. All in favor?
Aye.
You all get to vote for that one too if you want. Thank you everyone for coming. Appreciate you letting us reform the agenda.
What's this policy?
Betsy gave me false information. She said you gave me 7.
They are good.